Hi there folks, and welcome back to another video covering the development of Project Zomboid. In this week's Thursdoid, released on August 17th of 2023, was a pretty sizable one, and there's some good footage for us to look at from some of the new systems headed to the game in Build 42 as well, so we'll have our hands full with this one. I'll do my best to summarize the blog's content and essentially make it easier to digest whilst throwing in my own speculation or thoughts here and there. If you find the video useful, you learned something new, or you just enjoy watching, consider dropping it a like to support the channel and subscribe for more videos just like this one. So there's a pretty lengthy section in this blog post focused around some of the new crafting systems, so I'm coming back to that one last. Instead, we'll start off with some of the new animal tracking mechanics that are going to be making their way to the game in Build 42. We were given a bit of footage this week showing off how this will work, which features the survivor in said footage finding some tracks out in the woods for some deer they're trying to locate. The tracks will tell the player which direction the animal is headed in, how long ago they were in the area, and of course, what kind of animal made the tracks. Players may also find dung, which does pretty much the same thing as tracks, minus the directional help. The tracking will slot right in with the current investigation system that's being used for foraging, so it should be relatively easy to pick up and use for both new and existing players. But the developers do note that graphical changes might be made to the system going forward, so expect some new looks in the future. Before this particular video wraps up, we also see the player catching an animal from a trap, noting that it can be released into the wild after being caught if desired, and it'll go right back to the route it was previously following before it was caught. Animals have also now been wired up with appropriate flight behavior when a player gets spotted by them, so we'll have to keep a low profile when we're out hunting for that elusive herd of deer we're wanting to stock our freezers with. Directly following on from the tracking and animal stuff, we get a look at some of the new items headed for the game that I know a lot of players will be happy about. Shoulder holsters and military webbing. Holsters will be visible in Build 42, which will be a nice improvement, with some of the shoulder holsters occupying the same slot that webbing will. The webbing will have some new slots on the hotbar for radios and knives, which will make them a fantastic option if you're using a firearm outside of a pistol that you like to carry around on your back. The webbing will be a superior option to the currently available fanny packs and can be found in both appropriate containers and on zombies, which the devs note here is the case for both old zombie types and the new types coming to Build 42. Eagle-eyed viewers may also have spotted that there are some new items shown in the pictures showcasing these containers, such as a handheld lantern and an old military helmet. I think we've seen these in a relatively recent Thursdoid, but for those that might have missed them, it's worth pointing out. Now, with the more minor stuff out of the way, we get into some of the crafting systems coming to Build 42. The developers kick this section off by reminding us that the crafting overhaul will require a powerful, expansive, and unified system that can be built on by both the development team themselves and the community of modders that help to make Project Zomboid what it is today. This system will cover everything you find in the world, as well as the alternatives that you'll be making in your playthroughs by hand. Not all of this will make it into Build 42, but the developers would like for the framework to land with 42 to allow modders to get hands-on with the system whilst the rest of it is fed in over various updates. The crafting overhaul will be based strongly on what the developers are calling components. We were given a pretty hefty bit of footage with the system in mind, which I'll leave playing in the background for you folks whilst I talk about it, since it provides a really good visual representation of the system at work, specifically making bottles of juice from start to finish. So, each object will consist of components. The example given is that burglar alarms will have a speaker component, a sensor component, and battery input component. Players would be able to acquire these components separately by dismantling the alarm and then put them to better use in systems they want to craft. Again, an example given by the developers is that the sensors from burglar alarms could be wired up to the base defenses, switching on a set of lights when movement is detected by the sensors has an early warning system. The developers note that these improvements should make engineering a much more useful skill than it is right now, making it something that any survivor group could benefit from, which I think is really nice to see considering how underutilized the engineering skill currently is in Project Zomboid. The hope of the development team is to make components ultimately stand on their own when removed from their existing system, then connected to any system that would logically make sense. Each component will have a simple power, liquid, or logic inputs and outputs. The developers also take the time to note that there are a lot of factories on the existing map, which players may find have fully functional machinery when this system is introduced, making them very valuable places to loot or utilize for their own purposes. As a result of these systems, we'll see more diverse and interesting base building, but also more possibilities for modders when this system is in their hands. Honestly, having seen other games with expansive crafting and engineering system, like let's say Minecraft, this could get pretty wild when modders get involved. Finally, moving on from all things crafting, a new software developer named Patrick has joined the team. They have previous experience working with Tomb Raider, Tony Hawk games, and Ratchet & Clank. They will primarily be working with ragdolls for the team, which is interesting to say the least, but the team do note that everything in this area is exploratory at the moment and nothing is guaranteed just yet. Patrick is also from the US, whereas most of the existing development team is based either in the UK or Europe, which is useful for many of the developers' questions about the setting Project Zomboid takes place in. So that's almost everything from me in this video, but before I wrap this one up, I do just want to take a moment to remind you folks that the Steadfast Spiffo plushie is available until the 25th of August, and there's still time to get one. The developers are using the funds raised to support the Queensland Cancer Council, which supports cancer patients and their families when they need it most, including Vicky Ann Woods, the partner of one of the principal architects of the Build 41 animation system, Zach Congo. For this reason, it's very close to the team's hearts, and they are encouraging people to buy one of the plushies if they can. A very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters as well for helping us to create some awesome mods for the community and for playing on our Patreon whitelisted Project Zomboid server. Couldn't do without you folks. Thanks everyone, and I will see you all in the next one.